Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. I'm going to share with you perspective from a couple XRP chart analysts, one of which notes that XRP had an 800% move to the upside last time a particular thing happened. I'll be getting to that a little bit later in the video. Continued calls from almost every analyst on the damn planet that Bitcoin's going to continue moving to the upside, hit a new all-time high, and we have a very fun 2024 ahead of us, though not everybody is so convinced of that. And so I'll explain what I mean. But before going any further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Now, as I record this video, it is 4:53 p.m. Central Time, Sunday, March 3rd, 2024. XRP, 62.9 cents. It has actually popped up to just a little bit before I recorded this, 63 cents. Bitcoin also running up a bit. It was a little, just right before I hit record actually, it was just over $63,000. Now it's just a hair below that level. So it has been trending up for most of this day. And the question is Bitcoin going to have the strength to move to the upside, or will we see a correction? Now, given the tremendous move that we've seen in February, because that's the biggest green candle in the history of Bitcoin, roughly a $20,000 green candle for the month. Although, huge chunk of it obviously in the last couple days or so. The question is, can we actually have that as a new base, like $60,000 and above? Because that would be quite an incredible sign of strength, wouldn't you think? Moving that fast, to that degree, and no major pullback. That does seem to be what many analysts think. In fact, there is this from analyst Gert Van Loggen. He said, Bitcoin remains en route to break $100,000 and $200,000 within the next 50 days. Now, I know that sounds like quite the task in that short of a time period here, but how many people would have guessed that we'd have a $20,000 candle last month? So you never know. And this is a very popular analyst, by the way, 89,500 followers, and he also posted this. Bitcoin has broken the 1.618 extension of the 2018 bear market. Previous two cycles when this happened, price topped within 2 to 3 months at the 2.272 extension. The 2.272 extension currently lies at $207,000. So you can take that for what it's worth. I'm just sharing with you perspective from a number of different analysts out there. You guys can decide for yourself. I don't know for sure. I'm not pretending to. I've been public about which way I'm leaning, but I could have stronger conviction, and I will. Like I'll tell you, once Bitcoin hits a new all-time high, assuming that happens, my conviction is going to go through the roof for what's going to happen with altcoins specifically. But prior to the Bitcoin hitting an all-time high, if I had to guess one way or another, will it? I'd say yes, and I've articulated the reasons why, so I'm not going to bash you over the head with that in this video, but my conviction could be strong. There's just a few things that are a bit out of place that make me have a little bit less conviction than I might otherwise. And take a look at this headline from the Daily Hodl. Blow-off top? Legendary trader Peter Brandt weighs in on Bitcoin after Bitcoin rises nearly 50% in a month. Veteran trader Peter Brandt, who gained legendary status after calling the 2017 Bitcoin collapse, is looking at the Crypto King's history to determine whether its multi-month bull run is over. Yeah, and by the way, I'll note, not only did he call the top of Bitcoin in 2017, he actually called the bottom in December of 2018. So he gained quite a bit of respect and following as a result of accurately calling those moments. But anyway, piece continues. Brandt tells his 719,800 followers on the social media platform X that he thinks Bitcoin's bull market is just getting started after Bitcoin surged by about 45% last month. According to the seasoned trader, Bitcoin's last monthly candle is similar to the one witnessed in late 2020 when Bitcoin soared above its previous all-time high of $20,000. And he said, quote, should note that huge monthly bars are usually starting or takeoff candles or ending or blow-off candles. My bet is that this is a starting candle. Note the bars in late 2020 Bitcoin. October 2021 was a blow-off candle, for example, end quote. And so he is another one of the analysts out there that thinks that this party is indeed just getting started. There's also this post from chart analyst Crypto Caesar, and he wrote, The idea that Bitcoin has stopped for the cycle and altcoins are about to explode whilst Bitcoin drops is the stupidest thing I've heard this year. If Bitcoin is done, which I don't think it is, everything is done. Period. Every metric is against this ridiculous theory. Okay, so a couple of things on this. Although I did just state a minute ago that if I had to guess, I think Bitcoin's going to hit a new all-time high. He has way more conviction than me on that point, that's for sure, even though I tend to agree with this. But I got to note, when it came to the end of the cycle last year, you know who was calling the top accurately? It was the blockchain backer. He accurately called the top in 2021. This guy right here, though, Crypto Caesar, he didn't just politely say, I disagree, I respectfully disagree. He was rude to the blockchain backer. He had undeserved confidence back then. He said, no, are you crazy? This thing, and I'm paraphrasing, are you crazy? This thing's going to keep running. But he was rude. He's one of the guys that stands out to me. I was like, wow, it's not just the cockiness of it. It was straight up rude. And time passed, and Crypto Caesar was wrong. So does he have undeserved confidence again now? Well, we're going to find out together. I don't pretend to know, but man, it's like, this is a level of confidence that I just like, well, I hope you're right. I mean, I lean in that direction, but I mean, we'll see here. But, you know, it's just, I don't see him acknowledging certain things that appear a little bit odd that are highlighted by the blockchain backer. And you know, the blockchain backer has been very public about the fact that he doesn't think it's probable that Bitcoin is going to be hitting a new all-time high. Although he acknowledges it's possible, he just doesn't think it's the most probable case here. And he continues to accurately acknowledge things that are a little bit outside of the norm. And I appreciate that he's doing that. He's correct. He's citing very real things, and these real things are why I don't have stronger conviction than I do. You know? And not just stuff from him, but there are a number of things like it's just factually the case. You know, if you talk about the insufficient expansion in the stock market, even though there are new all-time highs, look at small caps. Whoa, way behind. Now, are they going to pop off? Maybe, and then everything will start to look maybe like, okay, all the metrics we needed to hit did occur, and then we'll look back and say, so yeah, of course, Bitcoin hit a new all-time high. But even if so, it certainly did it in a different order. Because Bitcoin and altcoins popping off right now, right? But we don't have that in the stock market. So if it all ends up happening, you'll zoom out on a chart and it'll look like it all more or less happened at the same time. But we're living this moment right now. It is not the case that we have that level of expansion, especially with small cap coins in the stock market. So will we in the future? Well, it's possible. And the blockchain backers have been talking about this as well. But he shared a post this afternoon. I'm sorry, it was actually this morning. This is at 8:20 a.m. today. And he said the following. Here, let me make this chart full screen too. When Bitcoin made the push back to the highs in 2020, it was the showstopper event. Bitcoin dominance roared. That is not the case in 2023 through 2024. There is a significant dynamic difference happening in this environment, with the altcoin market keeping up and many outpacing. You can clear... Let me make this one full screen too. So here's another post. You can really see that here when overlaying a lot of the top coins during that rally back to the high in 2020 for Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the best performer as it was stealing the show. But this time around, the altcoin market has been behaving much stronger during this rally in 2023 and 2024, with Bitcoin in the mid-pack. Something is at play. We'll keep an eye on it. Yeah, and so that is something that's a little bit different here. And so I'm hoping that it's just a case of history not literally repeating, but somewhat rhyming with itself, to where when it's all said and done, we'll be like, yeah, that looked a little bit different here or there, but in the end, we kind of got the same result. I'm hoping that's what we end up finding. Knock on wood. We'll see if that's indeed the case here. And then yesterday, also, the blockchain backer posted this. You do realize that the altcoins pumping everywhere is something that typically happens in distribution for Bitcoin, right? This is the altcoin show now. And so there's obviously a lot of truth. I mean, he's showing like these are just factual statements that he's making, so far as I'm concerned. And so you can look back and just a few hand-picked examples here. If you look at the last what happened last cycle, this is H bar. You can go back to see when it started running. Call it maybe, you can see it on Live Coin Watch here. The beginning of January started running. And so this is right after Bitcoin hit a new all-time high at $20,000 in December of 2020. That's about the time HBAR started running. So after that, now mind you, again, we had a tremendous run with Bitcoin. We haven't seen Bitcoin hit a new all-time high yet, and alts are running. And so it's not that none were last time. There were some, like actually XRP started running in November of 2020, about a month before Bitcoin hit its all-time high. So it's not that there weren't any. It does seem that it's the case that there are more running now than previously. So it's not uncalled for that some would start running beforehand. XRP was one of them. It started running. It was around 20-something cents, and November ran up to, I think, a little over 80 cents. Here you can see Litecoin, though. It started running. It's another one. Started running earlier. It was running in November. You can see this. If for those of you looking at the screen, you can see as I move throughout the chart, it rocketed up. And it took several months to hit its peak. It peaked in May of 2021, but it started moving before. Those were notable gains before Bitcoin hit its all-time high. So the point being, there's more happening right now along these lines, but I mean there were some last time. Here's another example. You could look at Chainlink. So it started popping off about the same time Bitcoin did, not really so much before Bitcoin hit its new all-time high. Here's VeChain. When did it start going? So let's see. So it started moving about the same time. And again, I know there's way more cryptocurrencies than that, but I'm just making the point that, you're going to have a mixed bag. I think it's the case that with the blockchain backer, I mean, people just making factual statements. You are seeing more of it. So that's something that's a little bit different. Now, once this is all said and done, we may look back and be like, yeah, there were a few things a little off, but every cycle's a little bit off if you check this or that. Maybe we'll look back when it's all said and done and be like, yeah, well, the small caps in the stock market caught up, and Bitcoin. So there was a bunch of alts busting off like crazy before Bitcoin hit its all-time high. But then we'll look back and say Bitcoin did hit its all-time high, and then alts ran even to an even more crazy degree. I don't know. I mean, I have a crystal ball, but it's broken AF, so I can't tell you with any sort of level of certainty here. But it is what it is. And then here's another example, Algorand. It really didn't start running until after Bitcoin hit its all-time high, and that's frequently what you see is the case. So we'll see what's happening here, but that's why, again, to anybody that disagrees with the blockchain backer, that's fine. Everybody's entitled to an opinion. It only grinds my gears when people are rude about it, especially given the blockchain backers, pretty impressive background and high hit rate, high level of accuracy. It's just some people have an undeserved level of confidence, and I think that they should maybe just be a little bit more humble in approaching this and consider other people's points of views. Even if they have strong conviction, that's fine, but at least have the respect to have thoughtful consideration here. And again, also on top of that, we're just talking about probability of outcome. So keep that in mind. And so I'm hoping that we continue to rip to the upside. I'm optimistic that will be the case. I want to see a few more things happen before I have ridiculously high conviction. But here's a post from chart analyst JT. He's talking about XRP here. XRP 2-month. He says 2-month MACD nears a bull cross. Last bull cross netted an 800% move. Remember, XRP likes to frustrate most, but once it rips, it just rips. And so the question is, will that happen again? Well, again, as long as Bitcoin hits a new all-time high, I think we're going to be seeing a new all-time high for XRP too. But you can see massive moves for XRP prior to that, because that's what we saw the last couple cycles. There are at least 2 major moves for XRP in each of the last 2 cycles. So we can see some fireworks sooner than later. That's certain. In fact, that I'd count on regardless. If you're talking about XRP just having like a move that just causes ridiculous excitement for XRP holders, I would assume that would happen regardless. But if you're talking about all-time highs, well, maybe it happens if Bitcoin doesn't go, but I'm not as optimistic for it. That's all I'm saying. And then there was this post from chart analyst Greg Crypto. XRP tactical move in order to achieve strategic targets. Fib 1.236, 1.414, and 1.618. Let me start with the strategic targets. In any Fib extension, these 3 targets are our main goals. Hitting any of them could push XRP into the $7, $15, or $30 range. Here's why these fib levels are important. A, 1.236, indicates a potential reversal or continuation point based on the square root of 1.618. B, 1.414, used to identify potential price targets or reversal points derived from the square root of 2. C, 1.618, signifies the golden ratio derived from the Fibonacci sequence and is significant for price targets or turning points. Tactical move. Taking a closer look. The W formation remains valid and is progressing as previously stated. The measured move is calculated in both logarithmic and non-logarithmic scales. So A, logarithmic, I swear I know how to say that word. A, logarithmic, number 1. B, non-logarithmic, $1.20. C, extended, $1.30. What's crucial now is for XRP to close weekly with multiple closes above $1.30 convincingly. This would likely mark the end of trading below the $1 mark. And then he notes targets are $5, $7, $11, $13, $15, $17, and $21, or 21.7. So that would be on the higher end of what he's citing here. He says, keep in mind that $1.30 could be in our next bottom in the bear market. Yeah, and that's totally plausible. If you're talking about XRP running up, 10 anywhere in the $10 to $15 range, depending on what the pullback looks like, even if it's 80 or 90%. Yeah, that still could be the bottom. The bottom we had for this bear market was, I think, 28 cents. I believe that was in June of 2022. So if you're talking about $1.30 being the bottom, that would be substantially higher, obviously. That's 4 times higher, roughly. So that wouldn't be too bad, actually. It kind of depends on how high it goes, though. So we'll see what happens here. Again, I'm staying very optimistic, and I'm trying to make sure I'm staying grounded in reality and not just going on with the hype train. Which look, it's okay. Like, I'm having fun with this too. I'm excited. It's okay to be excited. You should be excited. You deserve to have fun in environments like this. But I just try to not get too far out into la la land, because some people, and it happens every single cycle. They think that the ride that we're on, as things go upward, they think that there is no top. Or even if they won't tell you that they believe there's no top, they'll say that we're nowhere near the top when we're at the top. Like, there's always going to be those people that just think, just like in 2017, Bitcoin's going to $50,000, it's going to $100,000, and then even the next cycle in 2021, people are saying it's going to $100,000, it's going to $150,000, it's going to $200,000, but it topped at 70. And so that's going to happen again this cycle if Bitcoin hits a new all-time high. There's going to be craziness. If Bitcoin does break $100,000, people are going to be calling for $500,000. Like, for this cycle. Which I don't believe for a moment will happen. That's just so outrageous. But we'll see. Again, I still think the best is ahead of us. It's just, I'm excited, but I'm trying to be reasonable here, because I've seen too much of this. I've lived too much life in the world of crypto to be responding the way that you'd expect the typical lemming retail investor to respond to this type of environment. So, excited, but a little cautious until we see certain things unfold. I want to see Bitcoin hit a new all-time high. I want to see expansion in the stock market, and then I'll feel way better. If we don't get those things, I'm going to have a bit less conviction until then. Well, I'll just say that. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Boom Lambo.